How's it going, everybody? It's Mask here, and this is the interview I've literally been saving, the best for last, of course. I got with me here today none other than the person who finished rank 5 in NA. We got GUNSBLAZING. How are you doing today?
Hey guys, what's going on? I'm doing good, Mask. How about yourself?
Oh, living the dream. Living the dream on a Wednesday. But
Mm-hmm.
all right, Guns. I gotta know. How did day one of the World Championship Finals go for you? We didn't hear a whole lot from you day one. I don't think I even quite knew who you were on the ladder on day one. You certainly weren't running under GUNSBLAZING unless you were as unfortunate as I was, and like the rank 1000s, which I highly doubt. But tell me about day one.
Okay, so let me recollect my thoughts here. I think day one, yeah, I wasn't going on under the name Guns Blazing. Rather, I think first I was Bus Master 300 or Keck Master 420, either one of those. And day one was probably, yeah, the start of day one was good because I was playing Harpy Relink, and my first 40 games were like ridiculous win rate. I think I had around a 93% win rate through 40 games, and that put me at top one for a little bit.
I think I remember seeing a picture actually you showed of an alt account where you were actually rank 1, and it was something like 19 wins, 2 losses in your first 21 games.
Yeah, yeah, something like that.
Oh, that's the way to start. That's the confidence booster out the door. I remember it went the exact opposite for me. I guess the relink helped you deal with the weevils on day one, didn't it?
Yeah, it did because it helped me finish them off before they could really burn me out, and I could also like Black Illusion off their Parasite that I picked
Right.
up.
That makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense now, because I went in with harpies. This sort of was my plan. Stay true to the harpies that got me in there in the first place, but they just got absolutely stomped. I mean, so hard it wasn't even funny day one. Like everyone was running Weevil to counter me or something.
the
But
Vanilla Harpies. Yeah.
yeah, vanilla harpies. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Mm.
Harpy were Link. That's how it started. That makes a lot of sense. I wish I'd been quick enough to switch on there. So, how did you prepare? Did you do anything special before the event started? Did you go to sleep early the day before? Did you stream the hours leading up to the event starting? I don't remember. I was sleeping myself.
If I remember correctly, I tried to stream on like Thursday, but then my internet uh, was being garbage. So then, like, yeah, the stream had to end early, and there was a maintenance anyway, so it would have ended early anyway.
Right.
And yeah, I
When
went
did
to
the
sleep.
maintenance? When
I
was the
think
maintenance
it,
that day?
I think it hit at exactly 12.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that would
and
have stopped
then,
you pretty quick.
mhm.
Sorry, and then?
All right, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Oh, first fail.
Was it
All
that
right.
again?
First fail on my part. Stop interrupting the guns. All right. Um, uh, your internet. You tried to stream. Your internet was dropping. Your internet dropped on
Yeah.
you. Not helping.
Oh, okay. So we were talking about what I did to prepare for the qualifiers. Yeah.
Yes.
I okay. There was this one thing that I really that helped me out, and it was I created this. I took a line sheet of paper and I made a graph um, to keep track of my matchups. Yeah. So I put on that graph, I put like what I expected to be matched up with the most, and I would track my wins and losses on that thing. So I prepared that so that when I went into the qualifiers, I could see like exactly what I'm facing the most, and then I could tailor my decks to whatever the meta at the qualifiers was.
Yeah, that's actually genius. I really wanted to. There's so many of these things I wanted to do, and I just didn't. But because that's probably the most important part. If you start seeing, okay, in the last 10 games, I've played 6 of this deck. Tailor in a
Yeah.
card for that one matchup, and all of a sudden you're probably rocking a 60 to 80% win rate. And then, so
Yeah.
what was your first biggest? So you started off with Harpy Link. What was your first deviation from your deck you started with, and why'd you do it?
Hold on, let me try to remember that part because it was kind of a long time ago.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was starting to run into some weird decks that Harpy Relink couldn't beat. And yeah, some guy was running Chaos Command Magician, and there was literally nothing that Harpy Relink could do against that. And then a lot of people started running D-Gate too. So whoever was running D-Gate and Chaos Command Magician, I couldn't do anything against it, so I had to switch it up right then and there.
Fair enough. I don't actually remember. I never came up against Chaos Command Magician. Is that the one that shuts Relink down, or is that the one that stops quick play spell cards?
It's the one that shuts Relink down, the
Right.
effect monsters at target, yeah.
You don't have any OTCs in Harpy Relink, do you?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. So you had no way of dealing with them, right? And so where did you switch to after Harpy Relinquish then?
I think that's when I switched over to the 3-star demotion machine deck. And that's the deck that got me the most success. Actually, before that, I think I was using a bunch of different decks. I forgot exactly what I was trying to use. I did use Last Gamble Desert Twister for like 3 games, and I lost like 2 games. Only won 1 game, so I was like, yeah, no Last Gambage for the rest of the qualies.
I figured you had to try the Last Gambage out at least once.
Yeah, I wanted to stay true to my Last Gambage roots, but the thing is, I knew that if I kept trying to use Last Gambage and roll in low numbers, that would probably tilt me. And so, yeah, I said no to the Last Gambage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was me too. I really didn't want to start with anything but Harpies. I'd used them in so much. They'd done so well for me in tournaments. I had to start off with them, and they tilted me that hard. And it just the first day and a half were such a write-off because of it. Because I didn't just stop after 3 games. So you have I remember talking to you, and you went like it was like day 1.5, and I was like, "Yo, Guns, I'm doing terribly. Help me out, bro. Give me a deck." And you gave me you tossed me the old Harpy link. You're like, "Here you go. Here you go. I got you."
Yeah.
And it actually started working. It did work for me. I ended up putting it on Weevil just to troll, and surprisingly well. Every time a Parasite would pop up, it did work.
But, Weevil Harpy Relinque. That's scummy.
And then the Harpy often was just used on the enemies. The Harpy would only ever be used when you're up against, and you still were up against them so often day 1. But so then you also told me you were going to the 3-star demotion machine deck, which I still don't have. I only have 1 supremacy barrier, so I just had no access. But you switched off of 3-star demotion machines day 3, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, I did. That's when DK had already released his list for the handless balance deck, and I decided I'm gonna hop on that, and it was a pretty good win rate, so I decided to just use that.
Yeah, that deck did do a ton of work. Now, what about sleep? How was your sleep schedule? I know a lot of people said that even to stay competitive in this event, they had to not only sacrifice their social lives for the pretty much the entire weekend, any plans they had, certainly work, and sleep? Like, how did your actual weekend go outside of the game itself?
Yeah, I actually didn't get a chance to go out all weekend besides running over to Tim Hortons and grab myself a coffee. And I think on the first day I played for over 26 hours straight, and at that point I was a zombie. Like the amount of misplays I was making at that point were unreal.
Yeah, no, I remember falling asleep in 2 games actually, and that was when I called it on day 1. One of them was against Jay Ravian. It was Jay Ravian or Jangular, I can't remember. But they messaged me on Discord and were like, "Dude, are you trolling me right now? Did you have a bad hand or what's going on?" I answered them 20 minutes later when I'm still on the "you lost" screen. Shit, dude, I'm sorry. But yeah, 26 hours straight, man. That's nuts.
Man, it was crazy.
So then what? How long did you let yourself sleep for?
I set an alarm for 6 hours later, and that's exactly how long I slept for. But man, waking up after that was tough, my boy.
26-hour stretch. And so did you pre-sleep before? That was my plan. Try to get a rate before. I guess you tried to stream, so you didn't, obviously.
Yeah, no, I woke up I think around 6 p.m. on Thursday.
Oh, that's not
so
bad.
that was all right. And then I tried to plan it like that so that when I woke up I could play for for a long time before I hit the hay again.
So did that 26 hours start from 6 p.m. on Thursday, or did that start from 4 a.m. when the event started?
I'm not even sure anymore, my boy. I might have been awake longer than 26 hours, to be honest.
Oh, that's nasty. That is nasty. So we got, I mean, and it came down to, I would say it probably came down to less so of the deck you're running obviously helps, but the misplays certainly, when you start to lose those games that you should have won, that really crushes you in an event like this. But what was your final DP at? That's what I should have grabbed and thrown up here. Should have just been your rank. It should be up on the top right, but that's all right. Everyone knows you got rank 5. But what was the highest DP you got to? And yeah, walk me through your gains and your losses of your actual DP from day 1 right to the end.
From day 1 right to the end. It's a lot of memory to be had.
The big numbers, obviously like the milestones you remember.
Okay, I do remember that on day 1 and 2, I was on day 1, I think the highest I got to was around 550,000. And then right before I went to sleep, I tilted down to 40,000. And then when I woke up, I think that's when I switched to my 3-star demotion machine deck. And that got me a huge win streak, I think like 14 games at one point, 14-game win streak. And I got 40,000 points in about 5 hours, I think.
That's insane.
And then, yeah, I think that's when I hit either rank 3 or rank 4 with machines. I think rank 4. And then after that, I switched to handless balance. And that's what got me to, I think you remember that. I was like playing, and at the same time, I was chilling on your stream, memeing on your Twitch chat.
Oh, yeah.
And then, yeah. And then I was using handless balance, and it got me all the way up to 105,000 DP, I think. And that's the highest DP that I held during the entire tournament.
And what did you finish with?
I finished, I think, 96,000, somewhere around there.
So, I mean, at 105, you weren't just... what rank were you at when you peaked at 105?
When I was 105,000, I was 3rd place, like right under DK and CT.
Yeah, and I guess at that point, it's like, you go for it or you don't. So you obviously went for it. There's no... you're not safe. There's no sitting around at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you're holding your top 10, then, yeah, we're doing all right. And I mean, 3rd place ended, what, 132?
Yeah, you did. That star hit, man. Actually, I did try to go for the top 2, but then I just kept like winning and losing, and I wouldn't move up any higher. And that was like me playing for about 4 hours straight, and it was just going from 100K down to 90K back to 100K. So I was like, ooh, is there really any point for me to try to climb up any higher at that point?
Yeah, and at that point, what were you? How much when you're at 105? What did a loss take away from you?
I think around 2,000 to 2,500 points.
Oh, so like that's like you needed a 75% win rate just to climb by 500 DP. Then that's nuts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and my win rate was only like 64%, so that wasn't happening.
You're just slowly falling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're sitting around. I mean, now, and this is a question I kind of want to just touch on, talk about for a little bit. I certainly don't want to make this the focus of the rest of the interview, but it's certainly something we've talked about in the messages at least once, and I definitely agree with what you said about it. But obviously, at this point, the everyone's heard that rank 2 NA most definitely has cheated, whether it be in the event or leading up to the event. Regardless, it certainly disqualifies him from it. Not any action being taken on it aside. How does that? How if he wasn't there at rank 2, holding that 135,000, and there was only DK there with his 144, but rank 2 was at that point you would have been in rank 2 on on the beginning or the first half of day 3. How would that have changed? Or I guess you probably would have been ranked 2 on day 2 at that point. And how would that have changed your progression through the tournament? How did that affect you?
Yeah, that's the thing. If I was like sitting at rank 2, or like I knew that CT was cheating and that Konami would like take an action against it, then I would have tried harder to fight for that number 3 spot, because I knew that if I got to number 3, if Konami took an action, then I would become number 2. But the thing is, I didn't know about this whole cheating business during the tournament, so my vision was skewed with the entire thing, thinking that, you know, I was just gonna be ranked 3 and behind the top 2 because they were just so far away in terms of points.
Yeah, and I'm positive that I speak on behalf of the large majority of the people that were competing in this tournament. The fact that rank 2 was so ridiculously high, rank 1, rank 2, the fact that they were so out of reach, it certainly made even the thought of potentially getting top 2 not even existent. It was more, yeah, you know, let's just try to get top 10, or let's try to get top 5, and right. you aren't motivated to just hit the ground and keep grinding. But I honestly feel like it would have made such a difference in so many people who finished in the top 100 if our top ranks in NA weren't so skewed. They weren't. I don't even have a word to describe it. Everyone knows where I'm getting at with this, though. And yeah, what did you say? I know I asked you about it in Discord a couple days ago. I guess that's pretty much what you said, right?
Yeah. But the thing is, we don't know for sure if CT, like he said it himself. He admitted to using his hacks for PvE, but he didn't admit to using it for PvP. So who knows? Those points might have, like, in terms of a PvP only perspective.
Yeah.
Like you might have. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's the argument, you have them. What in the world's going to stop you from using them? And then, quite simply, well, do you have every farmed card in the game? Was there a deck that you perhaps would have wanted to run during this tournament that you couldn't because you hadn't farmed the cards for it?
No, I pretty much had every card that I needed to, you know, access all the competitive decks or decks that I would have run in the qualifiers.
Fair enough.
So that wasn't a problem for me.
Fair enough. I personally, I can say I don't. I couldn't even touch 3-star demotion because I only have 1 Supremacy Berry.
Oh, yeah.
And I also don't. I only have 1 Champion's Vigilance. Right there, people using these modded APKs, even if it's only to farm, sure, all of a sudden you're getting 8K on every standard duelist farm. You're getting over double the key income that to any other player, and you're farming the legendary duelists at the same time in twice the speed, always 8K drops in comparison to everyone else. And that skews it alone right there. Time investment into what you actually, obviously you've played this game a ridiculous amount in comparison to
right.
a lot of people, and you had access to all those decks and you deserve to be able to play them. But I certainly can't say the same about other people, especially not the person who finished rank 2 in NA. But I think that's the concept I was getting across. But I want to deviate away from that, and I'll take 1 second here to basically just aside to and say, I did do a video on Creative Timothy. When I put the video out, I had a lot of people come forward with some more stuff, and I'm going to be making my final thoughts and final words about it video, and that'll be going up in about a day or 2. And that's the last thing I want to talk about that here. But I guess my next question for you is Japan. So if somehow you got the call, yo Guns, get over to Japan and represent NA, what are you saying?
That's a tough thing at that point, but I definitely would want to go to Japan if they offered it to me. Whether I would make it public that I was going, I probably want to keep it a secret, like, you know, just go to Japan, but not as Guns Blazing, and then, you know, so I could keep my identity a secret, you know.
Yeah, I can respect that. Yeah.
Yeah, or like, you know, some people have suggested that I just go in with a motorcycle helmet and then keep my identity secret that way. And I did order a motorcycle helmet from eBay. It's already here in my house. So that's just in case that somehow they send me to Japan.
Oh, I can't even keep it together right now. That is so fantastic. He bought a motor. I need to do a motorcycle helmet. Can you do a motorcycle helmet stream for us? Come on.
Not anytime soon, my boy.
Ooh, Whew, he's got to buy a webcam first. He's avoiding doing that on purpose. So then we can't even talk him into these things. That's actually fantastic. And why not? Just go with a motorcycle helmet. Doop. That's so great. But obviously it's a far stretch. A lot of stuff would have to happen, but things happen. Yeah. So at least you got your motorcycle helmet. The backup plan is in place.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my other question for you, another question that I've asked everyone that I've interviewed so far is, what do you feel? So there's a lot of other trading card-esque games that run tournaments like this, qualifying tournaments to get you into bigger competitions, and a lot of them run a schedule. For example, this was a 3-day tournament. On day 1, you can play 100 games in total. On day 2, you can play 100 games in total. And on day 3, you can play 100 games in total. Once you hit that 100 mark, you can't play anymore till the next day. How do you feel that would have impacted our tournament that we had? And do you think you would have preferred it that way or not, and why?
I definitely would prefer a system like that because it makes it a lot less stressful for everybody. Seeing as that it's more about win rate and actual skill, rather than just pure grinding. But the thing is, even this tournament is not all about pure grinding. Like I think DK, he only played around 300 or 400 games. Like he didn't even play much on the second or third day, right? And what got him in that top spot was not that he played more games than everyone else, but rather his win rate was around 80%, which I did mention in one of my recent videos. But yeah, but I would prefer it if it was limited games, because you wouldn't have to do this whole stay up for 24, 26 hours thing and just grind it out.
Yeah, which is insanely, which is awful. I mean, it's unhealthy. It's simply not something you should do, but you're going to make yourself do it if that's what you need to obviously to keep pushing into the top of the ranks. How many games in total do you think you played?
I think I played around 600 games.
Yeah, I think I was in like the 580-ish range myself, and that's so ridiculous. In 3 days, 600 games, and how long do you think each game was on average?
On average, like 7 minutes, I'd say.
Oof. Yeah. So, and then I think that's a Pokemon line that does those limited games like that. And personally, I think my #1 choice for how I'd like to see them draft people for this is similar to how I've seen it on Hearthstone, where they just take the month-to-month ranked ladder and make it matter. For example, you have like they're adjusting us now, so there's Legend, and then you're going to get into King of Games. But what if they had a high scoreboard in King of Games? That was just like the final qualifiers. You win a game, you get points. You lose a game, you lose them.
Yeah.
And the top 10 at the end of the month or something got points ranked from 1 to 10. And then those points you then goes to the next month. The ranks reset and you go at it again. And the person with the most points, or the top 10 people with the most points at the end of the year, get invited to the Worlds. Like, that's a system I would really love to see.
Yeah, like the having ranks after you hit King of Games, that would be a really great addition to the game. And also, like you mentioned, like those who hit the top ranks, once they differentiate the ranks in King of Games, that would also, I think, be better than the system that we have right now, where you just grind for 3 days.
Yeah, and it would make King of Games matter too. Like a lot of people hit King of Games and then don't play at all anymore, because you're either just constantly testing troll decks in King of Games, because you don't have to worry about dropping out. But actually, you played League. I don't know why I didn't just reference League. It's the challenger bracket in League. If we could have the challenger bracket in King of Games in Yu-Gi-Oh, and then have the ranks in it matter from a week-to-week basis, that would be such a better way for drafting into the world into the world championships, if that's what they're going to keep doing.
Yeah, that would be sick. Just none of this, once you get to King of Games, there's no differentiation. That's what makes people think that, King of Games is just, someone said it was just like high-class casual duel, something like that. But it's kind of true.
It's kind of true right now. It's just high-class casual games, and it's really is just casual, because you go up against people just testing decks out of casual. So it's casual against people who actually made it to King of Games. Yeah. And yeah, the challenger bracket. I'd love to see it laid out like that. A high scoreboard, a reason to continue to play the game once you've already hit King of Games.
Yep.
And I can't think. I think that was the last question I really had. The potential. Oh, I guess the ranked's getting overhauled. Coming. It's July, right? A couple weeks.
Yep.
And it's just them adding 2 tiers in plat, but they're also adding a ticket system where we get to cash in for new cards. And I guess that's kind of going to give us a reason to continue to play in King of Games at least.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully the card rewards are, decent.
Yeah, well, I guess that's pretty much everything I got for you guys.
Okay.
We got your adventure, I would say. Call it adventure very leniently. It doesn't sound like it was much of an enjoyable adventure. At least that you're probably between your 18th and 26th hour on day 1.
It was all right. I had fun.
I think one thing I quite enjoyed about the tournament on a whole is it really bled out a bunch of new decks for us. But actually, this is perfect. I'm gonna bring. We got a ton of viewers right now to have the chance. Let's run a couple viewer questions. All right, guys. Thanks for checking that out, guys. That's going to conclude part 1 of this 2-part interview with Guns Blazing. This was the interview half of it. Stay tuned. Hopefully I'm going to get posted tomorrow. Essentially, me and Guns did a Q&A after we were done the interview with all the people who are watching or listening live. And that's going to be pretty awesome as well. But make sure you guys go check out Guns Blazing's YouTube channel. The link is in the description down below, as well as his Twitch channel. You guys can catch him live Monday through Thursday from 11 p.m. to around 1:30 a.m. It's a show you don't want to miss. But this has been great. Thanks for checking this out. Don't miss part 2. When I do have this all up and ready, I'm definitely going to have a link to part 2 come up on an end screen right around here. But thanks for being here, guys. I always appreciate you got watching my videos, but don't forget, after all, stay classy.